Howdy and welcome to LeeReads, where I talk about the books I've been reading and enjoying lately. This weekend I wanted to do something a little bit more casual and something a little bit different and do a bit of a read-along / reading vlog with one of the books that I've picked up recently, The Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne. I started the book yesterday. I'm 125 pages in. About a quarter of the way through. It does feel like I expected, which is a Nordic-inspired world. It feels as though we're in Viking-era Iceland or Norway, and there's a lot of terminology suggestive of those cultures as well. A lot of it isn't defined, which can be a little bit confusing, but it is a very familiar culture where you have raiders, you have townsfolk and farmers living on their steadings. They have thralls or slaves. In this world, there's the addition of this layer of magic or magical creatures that are kind of outlawed. Once upon a time, the gods walked the world. They fought, they died, they quote unquote broke the world. But there are remnants of their kind of spawn remaining in the world, such as humans that can turn into bears and other creatures and other abilities that are controlled by those who have power. So the story so far is following three main characters. Orca, who is now a trapper, but seems to be struggling with kind of PTSD from a violent past that we haven't explored yet, who is living with her husband and her young son in isolation away from the local town. And they're starting to notice some missing children in the area, some murdered neighbors, and are wondering, is this the work of humans or is this the work of something else? There's another character, Varg, who is an escaped thrall who falls in with this mercenary band, the Bloodsworn. It reminds me a lot of the companions in Skyrim, which this whole book as I expected, very strong Skyrim vibes, and now I want to go play that game. And he is trying to figure out who killed his sister so that he can avenge her, and to do that he needs to have access to a witch who could see the past, who can tell him who to go fight now. And there's a witch with this group of mercenaries, the Bloodsworn, but he hasn't really gotten a chance to talk to her yet. And the last character is Elvar. She is a young warrior in a raiding band that seems though they're bounty hunters, but specifically they hunt the bounties of people who maybe in that kind of magically afflicted creature category. The person that they caught in the opening sequences of Elvar's point of view is this man that can turn into a bear and was a fugitive for some reason. So now they are turning him in for the bounty. So all the pieces are poised and we've gotten a taste of the world. I feel as though we're poised now for the larger plot to start. So I'm enjoying it so far. I like the characters. The writing style is a fairly quick read, and so I have confidence that I'll be able to, if not finish it over this weekend, then I should be able to make some really good progress. So I'll check back in periodically as I read. I'm not just reading this weekend. I have some other hobbies and other things that I want to take care of. But I'm hoping to make really good progress on this book nevertheless. So I will be back in a bit. Oh, I wanted to mention my main complaint, so to speak, so far would be I mentioned the Nordic terminology, and a lot of that so far has been in reference to these magical creatures, magical or mythical creatures, and I probably just don't know the mythos behind it. But I don't know what they all are. So a character will be like, oh no, that's a tenor, or that's something else, and I don't know what the referencing is. I can't visualize it. But the story is just opening, so I know that I'm gonna learn as we go. time for a check-in. And I promise that my cat does actually, she's alive. She does actually move from here. I am now a little bit over halfway done with the book. Page 278, chapter 31. Things have really gotten moving. I don't want to get too spoilery with what's going on, but pieces of the characters' pasts are beginning to get revealed, and I'm getting hints as to how I think that their storylines may interweave, and hints as to why I think some of the events are happening. An interesting aspect to this world building is that those who have the blood of the gods and some sort of unnatural ability are called the tainted, and they are usually either killed and outlawed, or they are kept as thralls or slaves to the jarls or the nobility, or the chiefs of war bands. It's really interesting to see how those characters are made to serve what you would call an average person. I'm not quite sure yet how these average people are able to keep the tainted in check. So it'll be interesting to learn that as the story goes on. The story is definitely violent. There's a lot of warfare, as you might expect from something that is Viking inspired, or if you've read the author's other series, The Faithful and the Fallen, which I haven't, but the battle scenes from those novels are renowned. So I was going into this novel expecting there to be a lot of fighting. The good thing about it is it's not gory fighting, and also there's enough humor in there to undercut some of that tension. The characters also aren't progressing exactly how I expected. Orca, the mother character, is currently out for vengeance. She's entered into a bargain with some people from her village that she'll teach them the ways of how to be a warrior if they will help her get where she wants to go. Varg, the one that's fallen in with the Bloodsworn, still doesn't really know what he's doing, but he hasn't gotten himself killed yet. And Elvar has just sworn a blood oath to go do something rather foolhardy. So yeah, that's pretty much where I am. I'm really starting to get invested in seeing how their journeys go and seeing if they're going to get what they want. Yep, making good progress. I'm not sure if I'll have a chance to read any more the rest of today. If I do, I'll probably check in again later tonight, but if not, then I will check back in tomorrow morning. I finished it today. I wouldn't say that it's a new fantasy favorite because this book really felt like a setup for the next one. The journey that the characters went through and where they are at the end of the novel is was basically priming them to start the next one, I felt like. And there is another novel coming. There will be at least one more book in this series, the Bloodsworn series. I don't know how many are planned though, but I did enjoy the characters, the drama, and the things that drove them, and the reasons that they decided to do what they decided to do make sense. I felt like the novel was almost a little bit too violent for my tastes. There were a lot of descriptions of battle scenes, and for me, maybe just a little bit too much, but I mean, what did I expect? But it wasn't enough to get me to stop reading. Each fight served a purpose, and throughout the novel, I feel like the plot was always moving forward. The pacing was good. There weren't areas where I felt like it dragged or that could have been cut out. And how the storylines of the three characters intermingled at the end was satisfying, and you can see potential for how the next story may launch. So when the next novel comes out, I will be reading it. And if you are a fan of Nordic Viking inspired novels with magic and you like a good battle scene, I'd recommend The Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne. That's the end of my weekend reading vlog read along. I hope you enjoyed it. I had fun doing this. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you would like to see more reading vlogs in the future. Don't forget to support your local library. Thanks.